Communication for development is an area that has over the years become recognized as critical to the realization of the development visions of many countries, including Malawi. As of now, Malawi is facing a lot of challenges in the areas of health, agriculture and climate change, just to mention a few. To address these challenges, there is need to understand how communities function and bring solutions to problems that mostly affect them.
What is the IK? Indigenous knowledge has been defined from various corners, but one thing stands out very clearly. IK emanates from what people do, what people live with, and what people intend to do as part of our aspirations, as part of our interests, and as part of our value system. IK is cultural or community explicit or task knowledge which comprises traditions, customs, practices, values, perceptions, symbolism. When I say symbolism, you understand those symbols that we use to represent meaning, very useful indeed, and also the belief system, the mannerism, grooming, all the things. The list is long. You may think about performing cultures, performing arts, right, like related values and skills, the music, dance, and folklores. These could be very important indeed, because they have the value that could be respected, the value that could be promoted, the value that could be used for change and development. Look at our friends who are in performing arts, the theater for change and development. They're using theater. Theater, they don't bring the theater from town. They're talking about the theater that can be developed from the community. They're talking about the dance that can be developed from the community. They're promoting that as a tool for change and development. The folklores, storytelling, the proverbs, all those things that could be used for change and development. Symbolism and artifacts and related values. The visual arts, I don't need to give a long description.
Dr. Roderick Mlonya is the Executive Director for Angaliba, and he explains the need to incorporate more indigenous cultural courses in most universities teaching communication courses, so that when students leave universities, they should have indigenous knowledge that can influence positive change among most communities in Malawi.
But the media, like the mass media, the television, radio, should be a stadium, a platform, a public sphere. If I quote Professor Habermas, it's where people should showcase their talents. Who is doing what? Who is the best player on the ground? Let's introduce other courses. And communication for development, there's communication and cultural studies. You can't have an education system minus culture. That's where you'd find out that, someone might have money, he wants to eat by himself. He don't want to share because there's no culture in the education system. So you would want to have communication for development in almost all the courses.
Apart from using indigenous knowledge, the use of theater for drama, road shows, film shows, and advocacy are also some communication channels that most organizations are using in the country to communicate messages to the communities. Story Workshop and Development Communication Trust is one of the organizations that uses these channels.
We use a dynamic mix of media approaches. So these include mass media, where we integrate radio, television, as well as community cinema to drive the C4D agenda. Also, we use community mobilization initiatives such as community dialogues through Theatre for Development, as you have seen, but also we use interpersonal communication, that is peer-to-peer interaction, but also door-to-door activities that aim at empowering individuals, but also households with relevant information, but also the skills necessary for them to facilitate the desired change.
We produce different C4D materials and products like TV programs, radio programs, as well as print materials like posters, comic books, and other print materials. We have used community dialogues using community cinema, where an instructional video is used to stimulate discussion among communities. And from the content of the video, the communities are able to discuss their challenges and find solutions to the challenges they face in their everyday life. And from the discussion, the communities draw action plans, which they implement, supervised by various village committees, village health committees, village development committees, and with the supervision of district partners.
Realizing that communication for development is key in the development of the country, Ministry of Information and Communications Technology has brought together communication experts in different fields across the country to this first ever national conference. But why is this conference important? Gideon Mtadi is the Director of Information, Communications Technology at the Ministry of Information and Communications Technology.
Conference is bringing a lot of dividends. First of all, this is the first time that a conference of this nature is taking place. So it is providing a platform where different personalities, institutions are coming together to look at themselves, take a reflection of how they have been transacting business and see how they can perform better. So it is providing that platform where there is an exchange of ideas at a marketplace. That's one. Secondly, the conference is also providing an opportunity for those people that make decisions, the policymakers, the cooperating partners, and so on, to see the gaps that exist and see how those gaps can be bridged. It also provides an opportunity for the practitioners and everyone else to re-energize themselves for the task ahead. So there are a number of benefits that have come out of the conference. And as an institution that was privileged to chair the organizing committee, we are very pleased with what has come out of the conference.
The conference was coordinated by the Malawi Health Network. George Jobe is the Executive Director for Malawi Health Network, and he explains the criterion that was used to select participants to this conference and how he thinks the participants benefited from the conference.
What we did, sitting down together with UNICEF and the Ministry of Information, we came up with an organizing committee. And this organizing committee, we looked at the experts, those who practice in C4D, so they came together. And preliminarily, we also identified those who we know that they have been implementing C4D initiatives. The same was done by Ministry of Information and UNICEF. But through the National Organizing Committee, we were able now to explore more. So whoever, whether it is an academic institution that teaches something on communication for development, all these were identified in that consultative way, but also using our own knowledge of those that for a long time have been working in C4D.
Youth Network and Counseling, UNECO, a Zomba-based organization which champions issues to do with protection of children's rights in the country, was part of the conference. Also present at the conference was Development Communication Trust, DCT, an organization that works on promoting health rights in the country. Speaking after the conference, Executive Director for UNECO, Macben Nkandawire, and Ziwone Mayaya, who is Program Officer for Development Communications Trust, DCT, explained that the conference was an eye-opener.
Conference was quite useful to the team. To begin with, I must say that it was a motivating conference. You know, for most of them, this was the first time that they were presenting. And that on its own meant that they were highly motivated. I could see the energy when we were developing the concepts and the abstracts and the like, and the excitement that came when the abstracts were accepted. I remember when I used to mention to them that, these conferences, actually, I would joke with them that sometimes when I go and attend the conferences, I see a lot of papers in UNESCO. And I'm happy that a number of them did submit, of course, with my support to say, can we submit in this area and that area. In terms of what does it mean to us, I think one thing is collaboration and coordination. In fact, you are the evidence for collaboration and coordination, because if we didn't go to that conference, I don't think you would have seen us. We were very invisible, but by attending that conference, I think we have become visible. And there are quite a number of networks and relationships that we have built within the system, and I think that's quite useful. We'll use them in future programming. There is also a lot of learning that we have had. One of the things is that while we are using a lot of tools like social media and internet, I think there was also a lot of presentations that bordered around the technology, which we also learned from. A lot of issues that bordered around SBCC, which we have also learned from. So we should be using a lot of the knowledge from there to engage more in terms of programming in UNESCO. But more importantly, I think the work is going to strengthen our research and documentation unit, because I think that's an area that we have not done well. Probably that's why we have not been visible, and we need to do a lot of research and documentation and be able to share the information that we have outside UNESCO.
Participants to C4D conference in Lilongwe a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, that conference opened up my mind in seeing several partners that are doing C4D in various communities. They are using theater for change. But I think what struck me most was the use of indigenous knowledge. There was a presentation that was made by a lecturer from the University of Malawi, where they're saying that he was focusing more on the importance of using indigenous knowledge, to say that when you see these communities, we find that sometimes we think that at zero, they don't know anything. But if we analyze critically, you find that the communities have a lot of knowledge that we can use in communication for development.
The conference was organized with financial assistance from the United Nations Children Education Fund, UNICEF. Ernu Aliev is the Communication for Development Manager for UNICEF and says the conference was an opportunity for communication for development practitioners to share experiences in the field.
Was an opportunity and enabled C4D practitioners to learn and share their experiences in the field. It enabled people to explore their viewpoints on communication for development, on how communication for development can be smart enough to deliver the behavioral results and to make the positive change in the lives of the women and children, and enable participants to share their field experience and respond to the number of the questions. That's how community engagement, empowerment, critical for the communities to make informed decisions affecting their lives. And also, I believe that it enabled participants to think through on how C4D can be strategic and systemic with a strong evidence to make positive changes sustainable in the Malawian society. C4D is not only important. It's about the lifestyle. It's about how we live. It's about how we react. It's about the positive changes that we may bring to the lives of the women and children, and especially to our own lives. It's about the positive changes. It's about addressing the harmful social norms and the practices. C4D is a program. The program that relies on evidence, it is strategic and systemic. C4D is, as I mentioned, it's a lifestyle. It's a set of the positive practices that may take the communities, individuals, and households to develop.
Providing space for communication for development still remains a key strategy for achieving the country's development agenda. It is hoped that participants to Communication for Development Conference will use the knowledge gained at the conference to improve communication strategies to the public. One of the desired outcomes is effective communication to communities in the country. It is a fact that good communication to the people on crucial issues about health, agriculture, education, and democracy, to mention a few, would help to improve things on the ground. The conference was held under the theme Learning from Experiences, Utilizing Opportunities and Shaping Programming for Social Change.